So, there has been a lot of controversy surrounding a Wack 100 expressing how he feels about whether or not Nipsey Hussle was a legend. A lot of people are up in arms about what Wack 100 had to say. I'm going to play the clip of what Wack 100 had to say, and then we're going to break this shit down my way. And some people may be mad at what I got to say, I don't know. But we're going to listen to Wack 100 first, hear him out, hear out what the fuck he said, and then we're going to get into this shit.
A lot of people coming at Blueface right now.
For what?
For saying, for you going on and saying that Nipsey wasn't a legend.
He wasn't. What's a legend?
A legend.
Define a legend.
Someone that passed away. That
No.
I'll start.
No. Okay, listen. So let's keep it real. If Dr. Dre right now died,
okay,
we would say we lost a legend, right?
Yes.
Wait. Based upon what? Numbers, right?
Yes.
Body of work, right?
Yes.
How many albums did Nipsey drop? One album, right? This is not no personal shit I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
This is just real shit. The man died with 1 million followers, no radio hits, no platinum hits, right? No world tours, right? After he died, he went platinum, sold a bunch of records, followers went up 19,000, right? It's 19 million, right?
Yeah.
Right, so first of all, we gotta define what the fucking legend is, what the fucking legend ain't.
Absolutely.
Right? Was he on his way? I think within time, yes, he would have been. But at the time of his demise, let's keep it real. The truth could never be defined as disrespect. If it is, that means you lying to your motherfucking self.
There we go.
That's just like a motherfucker saying, hey, Wack, you little short motherfucker. And I get mad. That's the truth.
Right? A lot of people mad at this motherfucker for what he had to say. So what I want to do first is clearly define, based on the dictionary, what a legend is. And then we're going to break this shit down. Now, the dictionary defines a legend. The first definition don't matter. They talking about stories and shit like that. Second definition says an extremely famous or notorious person, especially in a particular field. Now, let's look at this thing realistically, because Wack 100 is off because his metrics for measuring what a legend is based on numbers, sales. All right? He uses Dr. Dre as an example. That can't be the metrics of how a legend is measured, in particularly black legends. Now, let's talk about this shit. Let's break this shit down realistically. Because basically what he is saying is white people get to clearly define who is a legend for and to black people. That's a problem. White folk don't get to define who a legend to me. They don't get to tell me who a legend is based on how much they purchase their albums. They don't get to tell me who I view as a legend. And I think this is the problem that makes the conversation, it's like a slippery slope conversation. Because we have to look at this thing realistically. Regardless of how you felt or feel about Nipsey Hussle. If you're doing it based on numbers, Nipsey Hussle wasn't a legend. If you're doing it based on the work that he was doing in his community, that puts him more in the legend category, but still, his life was cut short before he was able to fulfill his complete role or fulfill his goals. He became more of a legend and more popular, which is sad, this happens, post-mortem. This happens. Then you get into whether somebody's a living legend or not. Some, for example, let's say like Michael Jackson. He'd be considered a living legend. Was Nipsey Hussle a living legend? No. He wasn't a living legend. then that has nothing to do with me having an issue with Nipsey or anything like that. He wasn't a living legend because y'all didn't fuck with him until he was murdered. He didn't get famous or quote unquote popping like that until he was dead. Then people wanted to give him a listen. And as far as a rapper, I think Nipsey Hussle was a mediocre rapper. I think he was better at what would be black philanthropy, in my opinion. What his ideals were surrounding blackness and what he was trying to do for the black community. But as far as in the rap category, because here even in the definition it says especially in a particular field, in the rap category, I don't feel as though he was a legendary rapper that way. He became a legend post-mortem, because that's the sad, harsh reality of what happens to a lot of our entertainers and rappers and things of that nature. If we're looking at the numbers, the motherfucking Migos could be described as being a legend, and I think they're disgusting. Future, these mumble rap bitch motherfuckers out here that are being classified as rap, they will be legends based on what Wack 100 is saying. This conversation has dimensions. Whether or not somebody is a legend is really a matter of opinion as to who you view as a legend. We can't just look at numbers, because then that puts white folk in control, especially here in America where they have the numbers. That puts Taylor Swift over Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill in her prime, when she dropped, I would consider Lauryn Hill a legend. Taylor Swift, no. But if white folk are being able to define this, then Taylor Swift would be a legend. I think Taylor Swift is trash. Jay-Z and all of his coonish behaviors as far as rapping is concerned, because again, we got to break this shit down into categories. As far as rapping is concerned, he's a living legend. Because we got to deal with living legend. Y'all didn't give Nipsey Hussle the respect when he was living. He wasn't a household name while he was living. He didn't have the exposure. As Wack alluded to, he'd made one album. He didn't get a chance to go on a world tour to become like world famous. He became famous more so when he was murdered. That's how it is. Because we have to look at the impact as well on the culture. We're talking about living legends. How many motherfuckers want to be Michael Jackson? Mimic Michael Jackson? To me, this is the type of shit that should be qualified into what makes a person a living legend. How they influence the game, influence the ones that's coming up after them. Tupac. Biggie. Rakim. Living legends. Well, Rakim is a living legend. But you gotta look at all this stuff, and I think that's what's making the conversation difficult to have, because we haven't clearly defined what the metrics are. I can't sit here and say that Nipsey Hussle was a legend, because I was alive while he was alive. And his name wasn't hot in the streets like that, even as far as rap is concerned. That's not the reality of it. Now, we can try to be in our emotions about it, but that's not realistic. That's why you need to support the people who you have respect for while they're alive. Hell, if we doing numbers, Drake a legend. If we just doing numbers. Because again, if we doing numbers, we allow white people to define who legends are. Makes this conversation a little convoluted. But I can't just say that this Wack 100 is completely off base. His metrics are off base. His metrics are completely off base. But for black people, this conversation got some layers to it. So we have to look at it that way. This motherfucker just cut me off. I hate when people do that. I'm out here trying to drive and motherfuckers is cutting me off. They don't give a fuck. Ready to die to get to work. But we have to look at this conversation in a realistic fashion. We have no choice but to do so. If you feel as though Nipsey's a legend, then say he's a fucking legend. But the word legend is it's one of those words that's up for interpretation as to who you're asking, who you're talking to, and what they're measuring what a legend is by. But I can say, as being alive, while Nipsey was alive, he was not a living legend. Based on people's response to him, based on his popularity, that we're using these metrics, he was not. And that's not even talking about album sales and things of that nature. He just wasn't a legend. Even as a rapper, bars wise, no. Am I still gonna bump Nipsey? Yeah. But he wasn't a legend. But I'm interested in seeing as to what y'all think. I've explained it. Some of y'all might be mad. If you're mad, you disagree, you can tell me you disagree. Keep it respectful though. Keep everything cool over here. But let me know what the fuck y'all think, man. Comment. Let me hear y'all. How y'all feel about what Wack 100 had to say and what I've had to say about the subject matter. Again, I don't believe you can go off of just numbers because that puts white people in control of defining who our legends are. Like me, I call Malcolm X a legend. That doesn't mean a lot of people don't look at Malcolm X as a legend if they're not in that mindset. I get to define who's a legend to me. And even with that said, I don't think Nipsey Hussle was a legend. But y'all let me know what the fuck y'all think. Like, share, subscribe. Hit that notification bell, y'all. Shout out Team Rob. Y'all already know what the fuck it is. I'm out.